All right, so let's do it. Ask Dr. B. Who's got a question?
This is Sarah. I'm sure you have some videos out there on this, but um, statins and brain health, memory. So my father just had his carotid artery done for the third time. He had now this second time on one side, third time altogether, and would love to move him off of statins. I did do some research and look at it. There's not a lot out there. I was wondering if you could. There's some out there, but it's not really widely accepted. I kind of went to his heart doctor with some of it and was looking for some more recent studies and really wanted to get your opinion on it as well.
On the influence of statins on memory loss?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a good question, and there is precedence for it. There's a book called Statin Drug Side Effects and the Misguided War on Cholesterol by Dr. Dwayne Graveline. He's a medical doctor and an astronaut, which is
Hmm.
pretty cool. And he wrote that book because in his own experience, he suffered from what's called TGA, or transient global amnesia. And so what that is, he started taking statin drugs, and he would wake up in his car driving and wondering where he was going. So essentially, he'd get in his car to go to the store, and then, you know, would wake up metaphorically wondering why was he in his car and where was he going, because he forgot the whole purpose of what he was doing. And so that's transient global amnesia. The transient part meaning, obviously it doesn't stick around, but it's enough to be scary and dangerous, right? So that was one of the side effects that caused him to question the statin, as well as he had the myalgias and arthralgias, or the muscle pain and joint pains that are very common with statin drugs. And if you're looking for biological plausibility of statins impacting memory, I would refer you back to my cholesterol playlist on my YouTube channel, where I've got over 40 videos. In multiple, we've talked about how statin drugs cause multiple nutrient deficiencies, and that is well documented. And the most well documented one is coenzyme Q10, to the point that even medical doctors now, at least some of the ones that read a little bit, will prescribe a statin and recommend you also take coenzyme Q10 in tandem with it, because it's well known and been known for years that statin drugs cause CoQ10 deficiency. Well, why does that matter? Because CoQ10 is a required nutrient for what's called the electron transport chain, which is how ATP is made in our mitochondria. And ATP is the energy source, or the energy currency of our body. And so for us to be able to make energy requires CoQ10. Statins cause CoQ10 deficiency. And what do we see symptomatically? We see muscle pain. Well, muscles require a lot of energy to function. You see memory loss because of the brain, and the brain needs energy. And the brain is, where memories are created and stored. We see immune issues. We see all kinds of symptoms that can be tied back to energy deficiencies. And that energy deficiency is related to the CoQ10 deficiency. Another nutrient that it reduces, or causes deficiency in, is vitamin K2. And K2 is required to prevent calcium deposition in the arteries. Okay, so if you don't have enough K2, you have more calcium deposition in the arteries, which promotes atherosclerosis. And there are papers out there saying that taking statins actually increases atherosclerosis and heart failure. So it's like, what? That's totally counterintuitive, right? It's the opposite of what you think, because aren't I being prescribed a statin to prevent atherosclerosis and heart disease? Statins have been shown to deplete selenium, and selenium is a um, important antioxidant and is needed for thyroid health. It's needed for glutathione production, which is the body's master antioxidant and very important anti-inflammatory agent. So this is just three of many. And so, you could look at it from how do statins promote memory loss? Well, one way would be interfering with ATP production. We need energy for the brain to function. The brain's taking 20% of our fuel off the top at rest, more than that when we're not at rest. Well, if statins are driving vitamin K2 deficiency and we're getting more calcium deposition in the arteries and the blood vessels, well, the brain needs blood, right? And the brain, you said he had his carotids basically roto-rooted 3 times. So the carotids are driving blood to the brain. And then you have all these arteries that become arterioles, that become capillaries, that if they calcify, they become hardened. And that's going to drive endothelial dysfunction, less nitric oxide synthase, less oxygenation and vasodilation in the brain, less brain function, memory loss, maybe stroke. And then selenium is less easily tied to the energy piece, but there's enough there. So, there's biological plausibility there. Can I pull a study off my list showing direct causation there? I can't think of one. Doesn't mean I don't have one, but I can look for you because they're probably out there.
That would be great. I feel like if I brought it to his doctor, he would be open-minded enough to at least read it. I'll buy the book though, but
It's a great book.
Yeah, this particular doctor, I feel like I've established a relationship with him that if I brought him the paper, he would at least take the time to read it. So if you can just send it to me if you find something, I'll look through your library too to see if there's anything there. But I did want to correlate it directly to the memory piece.
Okay.
I'd like to get him off of it, needless to say,
Yeah.
right? Because he's got early stages of dementia now, and I've done all the lifestyle changes with him, and he's not gotten any worse in the past 2 years. But I'd love to get him off those statins. It would make me happy.
Okay. Well, hold on one second here. Let me switch my screen for you. So I did a quick PubMed search while we're talking, and here's statins and memory losses from 2015. So statins are first-line drug for high cholesterol. Recently, there's been general public and media interest surrounding side effects, including memory loss. So results, the most common adverse event was amnesia. So they looked at statins and other cholesterol drugs, and they were looking for total reported adverse events for memory loss and other memory-related events from 1992 to 2013 in Australia. The most common adverse event was amnesia, 167 times for statins, 6 for non-statin cholesterol meds. That's a big difference. There were 239 total adverse events listed for statins and 10 for non-statins. There were 217 single suspected medicines for memory loss events related to statins and only 8 for the others. So huge difference in statin in terms of reported events. We found that there were no differences in memory-related adverse events between statins and other lowering medications. That's interesting because there seems to be an obvious difference in reports. So there's a precedent for you. Let me show you, I guess if we don't have a question, let me go back to PubMed here for a second. Because here's one, again, this is ancient, research-wise, it's 2003. But here's a paper looking at statin-associated memory loss, 60 case reports, right? So 60 case reports. Let's review case reports of statin-associated memory loss, as well as the available published evidence for and against such a link. Again, back in 2003. But here's, they looked at the Med Watchdog surveillance system of the FDA from November 97 to February 2002 for statin-associated memory loss. We also reviewed the published literature. Of the 60 patients identified who had memory loss associated with statins, 36 received simvastatin. So here we go. What's your dad on? He might be on one of these 3, right? So 36 received simvastatin, 23 atorvastatin, 1 pravastatin, 50% of the patients noted cognitive adverse events within 2 months. 56%, okay, so 14 of 25 patients noted improvement when the statin was discontinued. Memory loss recurred in 4 patients who were re-challenged with the drug. Okay, so that's, hey, I started a statin and I started having memory loss. I think it's connected. They stop and it goes away. They reintroduce the drug and it comes back in those 4. So that would suggest a causal link in those 4 people, right? So they suspected it, removed it, added it back, and it came back. That suggests it was the statin for sure in those 4. Current literature, which this is 20 years old now, but was mixed. Okay, so the pharmaceutical companies would be like, oh, that's 60 people in the millions that we've helped, right? But millions don't matter when it's your dad. So it's
Right.
we're just focused on the person in front of us. Here is, and this was published in the journal Pharmacotherapy. So here is literature proof that it's happened in people. And so again, are we going to rationalize a way that, well, it doesn't happen in so many millions? It's like, well, those millions don't matter. I care about this one. So look at this. Here's a 2024 study from Drugs in Research and Development, exploring the relationship between atorvastatin and memory loss. This study suggests that memory loss is a notable adverse event associated with atorvastatin and provides evidence indicating a potential causal relationship. There you go. Print this one off, Sarah. We also found that statins may further affect memory by affecting mitochondrial function. Oh, how do they do that? CoQ10 deficiency? Wish someone would have told me about that. Therefore, in the clinical use of atorvastatin, it is important to carefully monitor changes in cognitive function of patients. Boom. So what you want is right here. That's 2024, so not 2003, right? A lot has happened since then. So that 2003 study was useful because it gave us precedence, but this is useful because it's saying, no, this year. Okay, it's sort of related, so I won't delete it yet. What you got?
Well, so Scott wanted me to ask you about this because, in the pharmacy, he's always got his ears open
Yeah.
for whatever. So there was a drug rep in there and she was there for one of the nootropics. Is there any value to those at all? Because I know they're technically listed as supplements. And in this vein, would that be something that would help or not with memory?
Yeah, good question. So part 2 of the question will say, what are nootropics, and do they have any application to this memory issue? And
Mhm.
forgive me if that spelling is wrong.
Nope, that's right. It's correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't heard of them, nootropics are basically, you could think of them as brain vitamins. They're not specific to the brain, but they're marketed as brain boosting supplements. And for example, one that's good is called lion's mane, which is actually a mushroom. And a lion's mane is in a lot of the nootropic supplements that are targeting focus. So if you struggle with focus or ADHD, things along that line, lion's mane may be beneficial for you. And that's not even a vitamin, that's a mushroom. So other nootropics are a lot of times they're combo products, and they're going to have all the things you've heard of, like 5-HTP, which is a precursor for serotonin. They may have Lacuna perennians, or that spelling's not right, I know that, but that's like a precursor for dopamine. They may have, depending on the product you're looking at, they may have some GABA in them, with the claim that it'll calm you down, help you motor down and go to sleep. So there's a whole line of, in today's biohacking, longevity, brain health concerned environment, this is another kind of subsection of the supplement industry focusing on brain and cognition. And I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I just want you to understand that, these aren't new, it's not really new products or newly discovered ingredients. It's just packaged differently, and that's fine. But you asked what they are, so you got anything else? Any other questions on that?
No, not really. He had the three, the three big ones that are kind of always like in the ring together.
Yeah,
Prevagen, Nariva, and then this newer one, Noo Cube or New Cube, however they're saying it. So he
yeah.
just wanted to know, you know, those specifically. Of course, it's all about packaging and marketing and that kind of thing. Because I'm so
Hmm.
glad you did mention Lion's Mane, because you don't have to go down that road necessarily to get the benefits of a brain
Right.
boost. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, last week we talked about the natural strategies for optimizing mental health, and we talked about how the primary driver of anxiety or depression or memory loss or brain fog or seizures is going to be neuroinflammation. So, to Sarah's point, can statins drive memory loss? There is precedence, at least anecdotally, and a little bit in the research from the 2-minute search we did, that memory can be impacted by the statins, and statins are given, supposedly for high cholesterol and the increased cardiovascular risk that supposedly carries. But when cholesterol goes up, or more accurately, when the true risk factors like ApoB go up, there's systemic inflammation going on. And systemic inflammation becomes neuroinflammation. So what we want to ask is, why is this person inflamed? What's causing it and where? And if we can identify those answers, then we can wipe out the inflammation. And then we not only don't need statins, but we don't, need the nootropics either necessarily, or we need less of them. So again, getting to the cause helps us eliminate that anxiety, depression, brain fog, memory loss, seizures, whatever it is, or if not eliminate it, optimize it as best we can, so that we need as few medications as possible, and hopefully as few supplements as possible, and can manage as much of it as we can with lifestyle strategies.